To another point that the judge made, when this Supreme Court wants to move fast, it absolutely is capable of it. Going back to Bush v. Gore, there were 4 days, Nicole, as you well know, between the Florida Supreme Court decision and the United States Supreme Court decision, with briefing and oral argument in between. And yet here, Donald Trump made his application on February 12th, and we're going to wait until April 22nd just to have arguments. So I am not overly optimistic right now. We would have to have a decision from the court that is more in line with the timing that Neil outlined, like May, in order to have a trial here that is completed before the election.
Wow, what a show this 2024 election is already. I guess it's good news, but just a sliver of, a couple of slivers of... A judge in Illinois ruled that Trump should be removed from that state's presidential ballot because he engaged in insurrection. Judge Tracy Porter of Circuit Court of Cook County. Let's all applaud good, honest judges. How about earlier this month, U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments in the Colorado case with the justices obviously looking like they're going to... Of course, they're not going to rule against Trump in that one either. So then these states know what apparently the Supreme Court, refuses to admit, is that this is an insurrectionist, that they're getting ready to try to put back into the Oval Office. This one, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals upheld a judge's ruling from September that Mark Meadows had not demonstrated the alleged conduct that prompted his prosecution was related to his official duties in the Trump administration. Trying to overthrow the government isn't part of anybody's official duties in any administration. Thank you. Including Trump. All right, I need a voice for good news. If I'm going to get bad news, I want it from him because he's very handsome. Dr. Irwin Redletter joins us now. So we need more bad news. MSNBC medical expert. Dr. Irwin Redletter.
Here he became Dr. Doom.
Dr. Irwin Redletter is the founding director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness and senior research scholar.
Dr. Doom.
Good morning, Dr. Doom.
Hi there, Stephanie Miller. How are you?
Not so good. You retweeted Eric Holder, who I already mentioned his tweet. There's no cavalry coming, no miracle solution, no saviors. In the end, we, the American people, not any of our institutions, have to save our democracy by voting in defense of that democracy this fall. And you just said the point he makes is critical. The institutions we used to depend on to sustain American democracy are failing us. Everything will depend literally on individuals doing their civic duty in ballot boxes across the country in November. Amen to that.
This is our last stand, basically. And I think instead of moaning over what was entirely predictable about the Supreme Court, because...
Actually not. Every legal expert predicted that they would do the right thing and not take the case at all, because that legally is what they should have done.
Yeah, I'm saying, but instead of kind of mourning that the structure of the court and who appointed those justices, I think we need to move on. The Congress is a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
Biden is doing whatever he can do. And, so of the three branches of government, two of them are dysfunctional and in Trump's pocket. And so what we have left, and I'm actually, Stephanie, I'm optimistic that the American public will not allow 10, 20, 30 million members of a powerful Trump cult to take over this country. I don't think it's going to happen.
What is happening? Dr. Doom is bringing his little Mary Sunshine this morning, and I'm Mrs. Doom. What's happening?
What I would like is to be called Dr. Cheerful.
Dr. Happy's here.
Yeah, he's tired of the nickname.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think it's really important that we not sink into desperation.
Yes.
And such depression that we can't function.
I've said that. You have to use the rage, use the anger, and not make it, because that's what they're hoping, is that we'll just despair and be hopeless and like, oh my God, Trump is going to get away with everything.
We're done, that's it, but we're not. And we're really not.
And speaking of the bad guys like Putin, that the bad guys are going to win, as you tweeted, we see a brutal autocrat hell-bent on destroying Ukraine, one of our strongest democratic allies, killing and kidnapping civilians, including children, committing countless war crimes. Republicans, members of Congress, see this as political, Trump-pleasing gamemanship. How morally bankrupt have we become? In the meantime, we are fully committed to helping the extraordinary, brave, and resilient children of Ukraine see a future of peace and opportunity. And you're doing your part, of course, over there. We've linked to your great work again, but I don't. So what's the latest? They're going to kick the can down the road a couple of weeks on a shutdown. I mean, what a pathetic lack of leadership in this Republican Party.
It is pathetic, and I think I wish who knows what they actually are thinking. Mike Johnson, the the House leader, is from Shreveport, Louisiana. And I'm hoping that at some point, maybe his own constituency would say to him, Representative Mike Johnson, you're going too far. You're going too far. We have to do the right thing at some point. But I don't know. I'm kind of weirdly optimistic that things will turn around. But the problem with Ukraine, Stephanie, is that while we're waiting for things to turn around, people are literally dying. I saw 20 Days of Mariupol, which is this documentary. I guess it's up for an Oscar. I don't know whether anybody's seen it. It is unbearably tragic and depicts the outright cruelty of Putin's troops in Ukraine. It's not even war. It's like, how can we kill as many civilians as humanly possible? You see images of tanks rolling down the street in Mariupol. The turret spins, and the guns are pointed at a maternity hospital, which they fire on. These are not accidental, missiles missing targets. These are deliberate attacks on things like a maternity hospital.
Yeah.
It is heart-wreshing, but it is one.
By the way, before you call us, yes, we also care about innocent Palestinians being killed as well. I think it's. Yeah, go ahead, Doc.
Well,
sorry.
we do. Naomi Klein said this the other day, which I think I actually put it up on my wall here. She said, when it comes to the choice between a gun and a child, it's always got to be the child, no matter whose gun, no matter whose child.
Yeah.
And I think those are words to live by. And it's like the whole world is in flames in some ways, looking at it in Sudan and then with the Uyghurs in China and all that. And I think at the end of the day, one of the things about being a pediatrician for me has always been a lifelong focus on what's happening to the world's children. And I think it's not good in so many places in the world, but that's what we have to deal with.
Doc, I thought that your Twitter account had been hacked because you also are Little Mary Sunshine on Twitter, and I was concerned for you. But because one of our listeners, Marcia, said, Dr. Doom, I pray you're correct about, you said there can be no let up in efforts to bolster Democrats' chances up and down the ticket in November. You said in the meantime, we need to work our behinds off as if we're losing. We can't leave anything to chance. And you just said, here's my take. No matter who else is running, Trump won't win in November. Impossible. Here's why. He runs a cult of true believers and has the overt support of elected officials who are too terrified to run against him or want to be in a Trump government. But no matter what they say publicly, they all know or must know that Trump is a dangerous anti-democracy wannabe tyrant. As for the public, there are a lot of Trump no matter what voters, but at least 1/3 are open to others. That number will grow. End of the day, there will be a lot of people who will pull the lever for Trump, but not enough to beat anyone in November. Take it from Dr. Doom, a man not prone to irrational optimism. You use the word weird. I feel that too. I'm weirdly optimistic despite how terrible things feel today on a lot of fronts. Because I'm wearing my abort the court shirt because I've been saying day after day, Doc, that I just think you cannot underestimate the rage that women are going to be voting with based on everything, bodily autonomy, now IVF, it's just on and on, right?
And almost in some ways the details of what's actually happening to women, women's health, women's rights, women's autonomy are really just part of this whole cloth of insane attacks against 50% of the American population. It's phenomenal. But like you said, Steph, I think when it comes time that first Tuesday in November, we're going to see exactly what American women think about this madman here that's running for office. I think we
would complete this.
Women wearing MAGA hats right now that will not vote for him in November.